Training for your next decade. My name is Nydia Tijerina Darby, and I am an integrative physical therapist and therapeutic yoga specialist. I refer to myself as an integrative physical therapist and therapeutic yoga specialist because I integrate a variety of complementary approaches in the programs that I create for my patients and clients to empower them towards improved function, overall health, and long-term wellness. I teach them as much as they care to know about their physical and energetic bodies and support them in their personal process towards whole health for the long term. I refer to this as being in training for the next decade. I am writing this book to introduce a gentle approach to therapeutic yoga that is directed to those who may be suffering from low back pain, spasm, and/or instability, all of which fall into the area of spinal dysfunction. People who are ready to take action to learn how to help reduce their own suffering, who have tried other methods and failed to have long-term success, and who are eager to improve their long-term well-being by incorporating gentle therapeutic yoga lifestyle practices into their self-care regimen. I am writing this book to share the gentle approach that I have developed over the last 40 years that considers the whole person, mind, body, and spirit, and to share this unique approach to wellness that is influenced by the physical therapy, fitness, and yoga practices that I have learned, led, taught, shared, and embodied over the last 40 years. The Therapeutic Astanga Method that I regularly refer to as Therapeutic Yoga. Nydia's background. I am a doctor of physical therapy who chose to work outside of the traditional medical system. I have been expanding my offerings to the local and global community with the mind, body, and spirit practices that I have developed over the course of 40 years, where I integrate a specialized therapeutic yoga practice into the programs that I offer. These programs are aimed at supporting and educating individuals and small groups who are ready to commit to improving their long-term functional mobility and health. I started with individual sessions, then began providing small group sessions to individuals with similar orthopedic concerns. 17 years ago, I expanded my offerings by opening and operating a yoga studio that was accessible to the local community. After 10 years, I moved my operations to a smaller, more convenient studio location to continue the process and focus attention on research and writing. I was inspired to write this book when I realized that I was limited in the number of people that I could reach in my daily work, offering live and live-streamed group therapeutic yoga sessions. Even though my work in therapeutic yoga and cancer research was improving my outreach and ability to share the method that I had developed, I also realized that few laypersons read scientific journals. It became very clear that I needed to write a book that could potentially put my work in the hands of those individuals who may not ever take a yoga class, but who might consider learning from my book. I focus this writing on back and spine care, even though the subject only touches a small segment of the conditions that I help my clients with. The journey of the book. I'd like to give you a little insight into what you might expect to find as you read this book. In the chapters ahead, I share something that my yoga teacher once told me about starting a yoga practice. That you will never be the same again. In a good way. You can't say that I didn't warn you. I begin in Chapter 1 by sharing about myself and the process that inspired me to meld my experiences in physical therapy and fitness in my early professional days. My quest to find a process that would help me move gracefully through the next decades eventually brought me to yoga, and from there, I developed a unique approach to breath-centered movement awareness practices that I began to refer to as therapeutic yoga, the subject of this book. In chapters 2 through 9, you get to meet Caroline, whose story reflects the experiences that I had with many clients that I have worked with over the past 40 years. Caroline is a beautiful soul who reaches out to me after being referred by one of my former clients. Caroline has been experiencing debilitating back pain and spasm over the course of many years. She is tired of hurting and is afraid of what lies in her future if she doesn't make a change. She doesn't know if it's possible to change, but she is willing to try anything, even yoga with a physical therapist. Therapeutic yoga is her last hope in the quest to get her life back. In these chapters, you will get a peek into what a private therapeutic yoga assessment and private therapeutic yoga sessions can be like for an individual suffering from back pain due to spinal instability and deconditioning. I share the practices that I used over the last 40 years that I know can have a beneficial effect on reducing spine pain and improving spine mobility and a person's functional abilities. In sharing Caroline's story, I also address some of the concerns, fears, and hopes that she shares with me during our work together. Additionally, I have chosen to weave some of the practices into the story. That is on purpose. I want you to enter this world with us. I have also woven some observations and information that I hope will help you understand spine pain and dysfunction better. I want to help take the mystery out of spine pain and possibly improve your understanding of this unfortunately common condition. I am sharing this with you, the reader, like I would be sharing it with a client that is in my care. I believe that knowledge is power, and that the more that we know about how our amazing body functions, in sickness and in health, the better. In Chapter 10, I share tips and some notes that expand upon the ideas behind the methods that I have developed to help individuals with chronic conditions such as spine pain, spasm, and instability. These practices are considered adaptogenic because they are not limited to benefiting only those persons who are living with spine pain. They can also benefit and help to restore balance in the bodies of persons who suffer from many other conditions. I incorporate these movements into my own personal therapeutic yoga practice that I do every morning. I have spent the last 40 years developing these specific variations of traditional exercise and yoga practices, and I know that the method that I am sharing works. I am confident that the postures and movements that I am providing in this book can help those who are willing to do the work to help themselves improve their mobility, stability, and possibly their long-term quality of life. Remember, check in with your healthcare team to let them know that you are considering starting this practice of gentle therapeutic yoga. Show them this book. In the last chapter, you will find a list of every activity that I refer to in this book. You will see images of the postures with instructions. I provide this resource so that you might consider starting your own practice. I want you to be able to read the instructions and see the images of me doing the postures. Because it could be valuable for you to have a hard copy of the images and written descriptions of the yoga poses for easy reference when doing the practice, you can go to therapeuticyogaworks.com to access a PDF of this chapter. On this website, you will also find videos that I created of each posture and select practices that I designed to help you get started on your therapeutic yoga program. I want you to do this practice. I want you to get strong, to be more mobile, and to be able to move freely with minimal discomfort for your entire life. I want you to do therapeutic yoga. Why storytelling? One last thing before you move into the first chapter. To explain how the therapeutic yoga method works to alleviate pain and bring function and quality of life back to people, I purposefully chose to do this in a storytelling format through Caroline's sessions with me. Why storytelling and not something more technical and objective? Because I wanted to share something that the reader would find interesting and be informative at the same time. I decided to share the experience of what a private therapeutic yoga assessment and private integrative physical therapy session with me could be like. These sessions reflect the practice in that they involve the whole person, mind, body, and spirit. It just made sense to me to share Caroline's story. I know that I need to write a technical book about the method that I have developed, the Therapeutic Astanga Method that I am sharing in this book. I have a group of medical and yoga professionals whom I have trained and certified as TAM-informed yoga teachers. These trainings were delivered over the years via the Open Hand Institute, which is an extension of Nydia's Yoga Therapy Studio and the platform that I use to support the education and training of TAM yoga professionals for therapeutic yoga research and the offering of therapeutic yoga programs for the community at large. These trained teachers have been waiting for the TAM manual. I am grateful for their support and patience. In full disclosure, I started writing the TAM technical manual before I realized that I wanted to introduce therapeutic yoga to the persons who were suffering from back pain, which is one of the most common challenges in our communities. I wanted to reach out to these persons in my first book and share this gentle therapeutic yoga method in a story. I felt that my first book should be directed to the reader who might want to see what therapeutic yoga is about, without all the technical jargon. Some of you reading this will be happy to know that the TAM manual is waiting for me in my computer and is next in line for my future writing adventures. Deciding what writing approach to use for this book just came naturally to me. I wanted to tell a story. In my therapeutic yoga private and group classes, I tell stories. I tell stories to inform, to help participants focus, and keep them present. And I often tell stories to keep students in a posture for a lengthened amount of time. Yes, it's true, to distract them from the gentle discomfort of holding a posture for a long time. This started back when I was a fitness instructor, leading basic step aerobic exercise with weights. Because I kept things simple, the process could be repetitive and a bit boring. So I told stories and gave information about the benefits of the work to the body and to keep my students focused on something other than the burn that was happening in their arms, legs, and lungs. So in this book, to explain therapeutic yoga, doing so by telling a story just made sense to me. I wanted to create something that you could follow along with, something that was not too boring. I am a nerd at heart, and I can geek out on the science, physiology, and technical aspects of the therapeutic yoga practices that I have developed. But I realized that this could put everyone to sleep. So, stories it is. It is my hope that this book and other future manuscripts will help deliver the approach that I created for self-care using therapeutic yoga to those who need it, who are readers like me. I learned about and started my yoga lifestyle journey by reading books. I hope that you and many others will be inspired to begin your own personal journey with this book.